This meeting of Lamesa Independent School District is now in order. It is 6 o'clock, August 18, 2026. A quorum is present with all board members present except Ernest Ojeda. This meeting has been duly called and this notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Albert, will you please lead us in prayer?
You all stand. In the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to come here today, Lord. Allow us to understand each other, respect each other, and Lord, the decisions we make here today, Lord, be for the good of our school, our teachers, our students, our board, our administration. In your name, we all say amen.
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 Did anyone sign up to speak?
Yes, ma'am. Carter Sheltnick. She will be speaking on Do Not Come.
Actually, I had two different topics. The city council was very nice here at the last city council meeting to pass an ordinance preventing parking along Skyline Drive there at the edge of the curb where you have a pull-through that parents drop off their kids or pick them up for the safety of the kids. However, since those no parking signs have been posted, the Lubbock wrecker truck that had been parking along that curb has very defiantly been pulled in and parked in that drive-through that belongs to the school. So I would advise you to post some signs inside that thing that says, for purposes of LISD, business only, unauthorized vehicles will be towed away at owner's expense or something like that to keep that from happening, and make it plain that that's not just during school hours, but 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With that out of the way, I'll address what I had signed up for. The work study program I think is great. Way back in the dark ages, when I was in school, we had DO and DE. And the kids that were in that went to school in the morning until lunchtime, and then they went to work in the afternoon at whichever their approved business was. And I think that is a great program if it is scheduled so it's beneficial to the kids. I don't understand what the do not come thing is. My understanding from what I've heard from meetings is that kids just don't have to come some periods. And while I don't understand that, I guess I would have to say, if you don't call the work study program that do not come. And if you're going to have this thing where they just don't have to come some period, please change its name and do not call it do not come. That sounds very anti-educational. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
That's it.
Okay. I have to say something. Okay.
I really don't feel like we should even be having this meeting today because I feel that this was addressed a couple of months ago. We directed that there should be a happy medium, and from what I've seen from scheduling and talking to kids and parents, that did not happen. Something also, I know there was a senior meeting last week. I remember talking to Mr. Coronado, and I asked him, were our kids respectful and behaved well, and he said yes. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, well, I've had several parents come to me, several kids, several kids were at my house that evening. They said that they felt very disrespected, unheard by our admin and soup. They said that there was eye rolling from our admin, which to me is very disrespectful, and I would expect better from our leaders. They said Dr. Avey spoke a lot about herself, not really what was about kids, and a lot about money, which also, I know we need money, but we can't get away from our kids. Our kids are what's important. Another thing I have been told is that the senior class of 2027 has been referred to as entitled. That bothers me because I have 2 kids that are in that class. Rebecca has a kid in that class, and our kids work hard. They go to school, they have extracurriculars, they're in sports, they're doing dual credit. Some of them work, and so for that title to be given to them is very disappointing. We have kids in classes right now. I know we need money. I know that, but I think it's ridiculous to be making up classes where teachers are not qualified to be teaching them just for dollars. I don't think that's fair, and I'm all for the do not comes. I'm not saying to give them 4 or 5 of them. Give them 2, because a lot of these kids, like I said, they go to early morning practices, they go to work, and give them a little break throughout the day. Now, I'm saying if they have done all their things. Like my kids, they should graduate with their associates. What else do you want? They've kept straight A's all through their career. They don't misbehave, they do what they're supposed to, and mine are not the only ones. A ton of them are that way. So, rather than have them sit in a classroom that a teacher is not real familiar with what they're teaching, let them go home and get a break. That's just what I want to say.
I will chime on that. I agree with you with what you said, but at the same time, I know like at one of the meetings we had about how some of them were having to do their dual credit homework, and they were having to stay up to 4 o'clock in the morning, and I feel like she put that in place as far as like a study hall where they can do it at school and not have to go home and do it on their personal time. And I understand that, yeah, they work hard, but I don't think they're working hard just so they can be, gone on their senior year 2 to 3 hours. I mean, it's beneficial for them as well, because it's when they leave school, they're going to carry that work ethic, and it's going to drive them more. So really, it's also preparing. I mean, if they're doing it for the right reasons, they're doing it because this is what the real world is about when you go to college and do all that. So in a way, I do agree with you, but at the same time, I'm like, we can't set the tone too that you do all this and you can get all your do not comes on the your senior year. And if it's going to affect us financially, then I'm one that we have to do what we can to also benefit them so they can have time to do their work, so they don't have to be doing it on the weekends. Or like for example, Mariela, she has tournaments, but she takes her iPad and she does her work while they're at tournaments. So it's just a lot of it has to do with time management too. So I mean, and that's just what I'm going to say is, I just feel like that's great. I mean, because my daughter's one of them. She's in line to graduate with her associates. But that's just a testimony to what they can do, and they're preparing themselves for the real world as well. And that's just my take on it.
Well, I think what first of all, I want to say the kids and parents who are here, I want to thank y'all for being here and using your voice. And I want you to 100% understand that your voice matters, your opinion matters. We are here to educate you. And I don't, whatever is said here tonight, I want y'all to understand that anyone who is presenting tonight, this is not a gotcha moment, or this is why I'm right. We are here for them.
Can I
I'm going to say
something?
that I'm going to speak blunt. This is a waste of our time as a board. This is a waste of the staff's time that we've been asked to give these presentations. We asked for something back in the May meeting for a happy medium to come to agreement. My understanding is that as far as the do not comes are concerned, there's been a plan in place from day one that is, in my opinion, unless I'm shown differently, is not going to affect any of our funding as far as the $295,000, $300,000, whatever it is, because of where the do not comes are, in the past. Has those do not comes been abused? Maybe so. Having 4 or 5 do not comes is probably a little too rich. But the plan is there to fix the do not comes to where not only is it not affecting us on the state side of it, but it in my opinion, it fixes that problem from a standpoint of telling everybody that we're losing this kind of money. Now, the other side of it, the CTE side, my understanding on it, from what I can tell, and there again, I've got some questions, for our superintendent regarding that. I don't see that as being $700,000 that we've lost. That's misleading. I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it from our administration. to be out in the community telling people that we've lost $700,000 whenever in actuality, no, we've lost the opportunity. The opportunity is there for, according to this report done by this lady, what region, I can't remember. Region 7. She's laid it out here that the opportunity is there to increase our CTE funding by $691,000. Opportunity.
Not left on the table.
Yes, at first, I'm sitting here thinking, we're so quick. Let's say, no, I'm not going to say we. One of us is so quick to point fingers and try to lay blame on our staff for not doing their job, on the board for not doing their job, that, it's always somebody else's fault. And to me, there's no blame. If I'm seeing things right, there's no blame. There's no blame on the coding side. There's no blame on the scheduling side. There's no blame on, as far as the 700,000 is concerned, to me, it's opportunity lost. But it's been spun because I've had so many clients come to me and ask, why? What did y'all do? What are y'all doing wrong that we're losing $700,000? Well, we're not losing $700,000. We're losing an opportunity to maybe increase the amount of CTE funding. If we can, and if I'm off base, I need to be told. If we can find, number one, come up with the classes to offer that kids want to take, but also find the people to teach it. Yeah. I don't think you understand the community that we live in. And the work program, we've got kids that depend on that. And the do not comes is to me, the way it has been brought to me is going to allow that work program to take effect. It's going to allow those kids to go to work. It's going to, I'll bring up Caprock Federal Credit Union. It's a big employer of a lot of our kids. And with the plan you wanted to put in place, Caprock can't hire them. They can't, it's not even possible. But with and I'm sorry, Amy, but with what Amy's come up with, and the way the do not comes are you got 7th and 8th period that is being proposed to be the do not come periods. Okay? Then you've got 6th period to be the work program. Okay? In 5th period, excuse my ignorance on that, but bottom line is on the do not comes, there is a plan out there that we're not losing any money, we're still allowing the kids to go work. And we shouldn't even be meeting about that right now. Because that's what you were tasked to do back in May. And apparently it doesn't matter what we said. We asked you to come to a middle ground. And Amy has had that in her back pocket ever since then. And all you have done is try to point fingers at her and point fingers at other people and try to lay blame whenever you're the boss. Okay? And for you to sit there and continually kick the can down the road, we're here for a reason. I mean, you've got it in your head that the do not comes, that's not an option. Well, I'm telling you right now, it is an option. It's an option for me. And as far as the CTE, I'm tired of being spun in the community that it's money that we lost. That, what are you going to do? Blame Danielle for not coding it right? Blame who are we going to blame for not? Because if it's money that's lost, then apparently we've been losing it for quite a while now. Whose fault is that? I don't look at it as money that's lost, because all this is from this lady at this region. This is basically telling us to maximize our CTE. This is what needs to happen. So let's adopt a plan to maybe move in that direction. But don't sit here and spin it that we've left $700,000 laying on the table, because that's making us as a board appear that we haven't done our jobs. And I'm taking issue with that, and I'm doing it right now. I'm tired of it.
Albert.
I just wanted to say this. For the past, I guess when this all came up, it's taken me a week and a half calling people, calling Lisa, calling Miss Baker, calling Heather Blunt from Region 17 regarding all this information that we're talking about right now. And for me, again, the judge just said it earlier, but this has been going on since before. I think it was 1984 that Heather Blunt told me that PIM started. 1984. Back in the day, it was work study, free period, not work. What is that? What is it?
Work. Do not comes.
Do not comes. So my thing is again, it's working. It's like all the board is saying right now. We have asked you. Well, I was there when it was asked that we needed to get this information. And we need to have that information. I think I met with you, and I'm not trying to attack you, Dr. Avey. What I'm trying to do is the parents here, the students here, at Lamesa ISD, have worked very hard to get to the point that they get to go get a job. I went and got a job. Why did I have to go get a job? Because, again, I told you, my dad bought me a truck. I had to go get gas money, this and that. And this is very important. Not only for us, but for these students that are here, these parents that are here. So again, this is something that needs to happen immediately. I think these students need to have, the work study. I think Amy Baker and Lisa has done a great job. That me talking to them, they have the information, they have a plan of action to provide these students what they need. So my thing is, again, they need to be listened to. And they need to be somebody needs to sit down with them and say, okay, give me your plan. Because again, everybody here agrees that we should not even be here. This is old news. Move forward. Let's get this done. Now let's talk about the money, right? So I'm going to talking about PIMS, and I know I mentioned it before. Ms. Danielle, it's very hard, seriously, for me to understand that there's only one person in this Lamesa ISD that knows what Ms. Danielle Garcia knows. Why? Why is that? Not to say to be mean or anything, or be disrespectful. My thing is, again, that's an issue for me. Because you have North, you have high school, and again, it's taken me a week and a half, and I got the proof right here. But the coding and everything that she has to deal with. The teachers have to deal with. Ms. Baker had asked her a question. When was the last time that a code was given to her? When was the last time that somebody sat with her, hey, this is the code you need to utilize so we can get the reimbursement we need? Again, this is something I know. Why? Because I'm in the medical field, and everything in the medical field has to have a code for us to get paid. And if I don't utilize the correct code with that correct ICD-10 code, you know what? We're not going to get any money. So I totally understand that. My thing is, again, these kids deserve to be heard. These kids deserve to be respected. Again, this has been happening since even before 1984. So obviously something is working here. The work study is working. These kids need to go to work. Again, it's not my business to tell Ms. Rebecca, hey, your kid needs to go to work. And I think we talked about this, that who's responsible for this? Who's responsible to make sure their kids are going to work, to make sure that kids are going to work study? Is it the teacher's responsibility or the school responsibility? No, it's the parent responsibility. So if I have a kid in work study, it is my responsibility to make sure that my kid is going to work, if he's going to work, or he's going to work study. Not yours, Ms. Dr. Davey or Avey, or any teacher here. It is the parent responsibility. So again, I just think that we need to make sure that these kids are heard and that these kids, again, give the responsibility to who? Who are we going to give the responsibility back to? Accountability. Because you said it at your meeting that you don't micromanage, correct?
Correct.
And you hold people accountable, right? So who am I going to hold accountable? I'm going to hold you, Ms. Danielle, Ms. Baker, and Ms. Lisa accountable because, again, they've been doing it for the past 12 years. So if I was superintendent, who do you think I was going to call into my office to tell me, okay, talk to me about the coding, talk to me about PIMS, talk to me about how it's working with these students with birth study. Those are the 3 people I would have in my office concerning that. And concerning, again, to Ms. Danielle, again, I just truly believe that cannot be. That only one person, because Region 17 provides the training. I just cannot believe that we, to this date, in 2026, only have one person in this organization that can provide that service for us.
I agree with you, and haven't we added to middle school too? Well, see, and this is the thing. I know I said teachers are not. I didn't mean that they were not qualified. I mean, we're throwing CTE classes at them that they are not qualified to teach, and I know that because I've had some con tell me I don't know what I'm doing. So how's that benefiting our kids?
I'm glad that those are things we need to know.
I guess, okay, so I know all of this, I think we've already discussed this in the previous meeting about how we feel and what we want. Ms. Baker, I don't want to put you on spot, and I'm sorry, but is there another alternative to where we're not losing funding? Now, we got to remember these students that we're talking about, they are college ready or workforce ready. They have all their qualifications, am I correct? They are already ready to graduate. They just need their credits or whatever they need. And is there a way that we still get funding and get what we need on our end as far as the dollar-wise? Because I do agree that it was at it, we fixed whatever we needed to fix. Is there another way?
If kids qualify, like you said, if they're CCMR compliant, if they are working on their completer status, if they have room, the work program many years ago, it was 3 class periods, and it was offered along with them. Those rules have changed. So career prep is now 2 class periods. So it's 1 class period that the kids have to be in the seat for instruction, and then they just get to leave for 1 period to work. So that doesn't give them much time to work. They also have to have 10 hours a week to do that. Now, there is a Career Prep 3 that does that, where they have 1 class period they have to be in and 2 to work, but they have to have 15 hours. And if they don't meet that, we have to take them out. And a lot of our kids, extracurricular, that's a lot of stress for 15 hours. So that's why I went with the Career Prep for 2. But that is CTE funding, it's a block course. So as long as a kid is there at least 3/5 period, then they could have do not comes to follow to help with extra work periods. Now those are the kids that qualify. So 8th period is mostly athletics. Our seniors aren't going to miss anything if they're not here, because they're either in athletics or right now they're in a dual credit study hall, they're office aide, something to that effect. But if we could schedule 5th and 6th period work program, and then 7th and 8th, a different name, senior seminar or something like that, then that would work. That would give them more work time.
Then how about we do that?
It's an easy fix.
Yeah.
I don't know what the...
So those that are athletics would have to come back, right?
Yes, and that's been that way
It's been
forever.
Yeah.
Ms. Baker, real quick, how many of these students have a job? How many of the on the work student? How many students have a job?
I don't know the exact amount that's enrolled in career prep. I didn't run that before we got here. I think there's probably about 50 to 60. Now they have 15 days to get a job, and if they don't have a job, then I have to take them out. Most of them do, as of right now. Coach Laura is the teacher, and he's got a spreadsheet with me, and he's been sharing that information.
So
who would be held accountable then? I mean, who would have to be in charge of making sure? Do they have to turn in check stuff?
Coach
Or do they
Laura,
have, okay.
yes, and
So
he's
he
been
will be in charge.
Yes, he's been given 2 conference periods, so 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, because he has to do 6 site visits a year to check these kids to make sure are they legitimately going to work, They have to turn in a pay stub once a week or whenever they get paid. Sometimes it's twice a month. But he has to see all that. And there's strict guidelines. I sent him to Region 17 training with Heather Blunt this summer to see what all we needed to do. And he's been on top of it so far. He's trying to help them get jobs as well.
And all we're doing is trying to make sure these kids can go to work, get what they need, and I think that's all we need to discuss. I mean, do you have anybody have any questions?
Well,
Do we?
honestly, the last time we spoke about this in May, I gave a big old speech. I can go back and listen to it if you want to. I'm not going to go and say all that again. But I do agree with a lot of what they say. I do agree with a lot of what I've talked to some of y'all about already. But I just want to say thank you, Amy, because you have been here for many years, and we have had so many administrators come through there. And if we didn't have you there, we wouldn't. That school would not be running. So thank you so much.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm sorry, Danielle and Dr. Amy. So on the PIMS, you have fatal errors and you have special warning errors, and there's a third one. And we're talking about leaving money on, and that's the reason I'm only bringing it up, because, again, are we leaving any money on the table because of coding or because on special errors, automatically it's rejected, right? TEA is not going to accept it if you have any fatal errors.
That's not.
But
Fatal, you said special.
no fatal,
Fatal, you're absolutely right.
right? So on the special, it will allow, but my question is, if you have a special error, is anybody looking at those special errors?
I look at it.
You do look at it. Okay, and so, because the reason I was asking that is because, again, recommendation through Brownfield, Andrews, Denver City, Region 17, there has to be a team. There has to be a team that oversees that because, again, there's one person that only, I don't know if people don't understand about coding. Do we? No. It's a lot. And you have one person, and again, I'm giving you the most appreciative because it's a lot. It's taken me a week, seriously, to pull and read. And how long have you been doing this, Danielle?
PIMS specifically, 17 years.
So, at middle school, at North, who are your people that know PIMS at North and middle school?
Registrars, attendance clerks, counselors, and assistant principals. So when you say I'm the only one that knows that, that's not true. So I do training before school starts. I do multiple trainings throughout school. I do trainings right before every submission. I have checklists. I have sign-off sheets. I have
Okay.
I have things that I have them double check.
Okay.
So it's not just me.
So where is that list at? Because I have people that have told me that you have not trained them. Again, I'm just bringing it up because you just stated that. I didn't ask you that. You're stating that. So my thing is, again, do we have documentation that you do have?
I have them sign
it
every single time. I have them give reports. I have them send me emails. I have them have principals sign off. I have secretaries, attendance clerks, special ed people. I have them all sign off. It's not just me.
Okay.
And I have all the documentation if you would like to see those.
Amy, has Danielle trained you?
Yeah.
And are you signed off on your training?
We have our meetings, yes, for PIMS.
Okay. All right. That's all I have.
As far as the PIMS is concerned, too, I'll go back to that for just a second. We recognize that Danielle being the only person as far as at the district level was an issue. We've talked about that. We were looking at transitioning to a new system early on and coming in, but because we had a 3-year contract with Skyward, we were unable to do that unless we paid for 2 years with 2 different systems. So we have had that conversation. We've had lots of conversations about making sure everybody's trained. We did business office rotations, and then she's also gone out and trained the secretaries. So we do recognize that as a need, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to transition away from Skyward. And so we would have support from the service center, and we could send people to all those trainings. But there are Ascender trainings that, Skyward versus Ascender. We could go to Ascender versus
And
Skyward.
when is that? I'm sorry, I didn't get that. When is that going to happen?
The transition, we haven't had any conversation this yet spring about that. It'll be something that we'll come together and decide whether or not it's something that we need to do as a system. Because Danielle right now she has the high level knowledge of the PEEMS. And so, but all of the people who work as registrars, people in our office, everybody has access to PEEMS. And so and I'm not a PEEMS expert. She's the expert.
I don't have access to PEEMS. Do we have access?
No, you do not have access to PEEMS. No, but she can speak about it. So, and I would like to add, and first I want to first and foremost thank everybody for being here, and I want everybody to know that we do hear you. We did listen to the things that we heard, and we do feel like we have a fundamental belief that we are here to educate all of our kids to the maximum extent we can every single chance, every single day. What we heard was that students were not able to get their dual credit time in, so we were staying up late. We wanted to make sure we built in study halls for those kids. We also heard that kids needed to work, not all kids, but some kids. So we did build in career prep and career pathways. We also expanded our choice offerings, and so we added principals classes because we have a lot of kids who are not completers. So we have kids that are juniors and seniors who will be taking those that are typically beginning entry classes, but they'll be taking those so that they can be completers. And so we were not trying to do anything to kids. This is what I told the kids when we met with them last week, that we are trying to be responsive to all the needs of everybody, and it's not a perfect fit for everybody right now, and we recognize that, which is why I've been in conversation with Mr. Coronado, Amy and Danielle, and Mr. Coronado and we've had multiple meetings. We've talked about the coding. We've actually even had meetings with Morgan to talk about funding and why did our CTE numbers go down from one year to the next. So we've had a lot of meetings and a lot of conversations. We've talked in those meetings specifically about coding. We looked through all of our course offerings. So we are trying to fix all of those little problems that we can find. Now I did talk to Mr. Coronado, and I asked him, how many kids are really truly having scheduling conflicts. He indicated to me about 5. We had about that at that time had been reported to him of kids who had jobs that weren't able to work on those. So what we tried to do is build in career prep so that they could have, and I don't do the master schedule, so Amy, if I'm speaking out of turn, please correct me, but those kids have the opportunity to have career prep, which is 2 sections, and then also they can get their practicum. The practicum, though, has to be within their program of study. So not every kid will have a practicum will qualify for a practicum. And so it will take a couple of years for it to flesh itself all the way through. But the big piece is we need kids to be completers. And so that comes down to like the course scheduling and the master scheduling that Amy does and the conversations kids had. And we were responsive. I said, please make sure you visit with your principal and your counselor so that we can identify those areas of need.
But Amy, you have a way that we can just fix all this. Like, I think all the small details aren't really for us to know. I just want to know, like, is there a way to fix it with y'all together, like she said that you do it?
Even
To
if
make
that means adding in the do not comes or whatever they're going to be.
Don't
called.
call it do not comes. I'm with Carter on that. Don't
Call it whatever
do
you
not
want to
comes.
call it.
We'll call it.
I just want
Louisa.
to be clear because sometimes we leave here and we are not clear and
No,
things
but
do
I
not
said,
happen.
no,
That's
but
why I want to make sure.
I think
I
we're
would agree
aware
with you.
that the work program, you can't expect a child to go to work one period.
Right.
So that's going to make, you're going to need to have the senior class, whatever you want to call it, have fun with that.
Senior seminars.
Senior seminars.
Yeah.
There you
You'll
go.
have the senior
Senior
seminars to make sure they can go to work. And that's just, like, that's enough.
Miss
So
Amy,
when you say
so-
CCMR, what is our percentage for CCMR
We're
compliant?
on accountability. We were a 76%, significantly behind the state and the region. On the actual completers, we only have, I think, approximately 21% of our kids considered completers for CCMR.
Out of the
I'm sorry, Amy, out of the 80 that you had mentioned, how many of those are completers?
This year,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know the exact amount on that, but we have put those courses in place, like the practicum of culinary. We did another practicum in Cosmo, and then we also did this practicum of entrepreneurship, and then we did another one. But those kids, they have to meet this completer, or they won't qualify. That's a criteria also. And I explained to the kids when we had our senior meeting, because when we did course requests in the spring, kids already knew the senior seminars were going to be taken away. So when I went in and did course requests with them, I said, okay guys, we're planning as if they're not going to be here, so we need to have a plan. And a lot of them were like, I'm going to work. I'm going to work. And I told them, okay, it's a 3-period work period, because that's what it was. Well, that changed back in 2020. So when I called Heather Blunt back in June, that's when she said, no, it's not like that anymore. And I'm like, oh crap, like that really didn't help. So
And why didn't you not know that?
because we hadn't offered the career prep since 2020, 2021, and that's about when it changed. So we had stopped offering it. So that's why I didn't know. And it changes, courses are added and expectations are added. Courses are sunsetted, they're discontinued. So you kind of have to be on top of that. And if we don't offer it, something I didn't look into. So when I called her, I'm glad I did call her, because if we would have offered it 3 periods and we ever were audited, we'd be in trouble for that. So I'm glad I did check. And that is when I'm like, okay, we can do the career prep this way, and if we're able to offer the senior seminar, then that's how we're going to give them more work time, is to still have them finishing their CTE pathway, so there's the funding there. Then the work program gives some, and then they would have some periods off if they met all that criteria. And it's not going to be the whole senior class. It's not.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to go and look each kid, just like I do with scheduling, and that's fine. But it's not going to be something that's going to be taken advantage of.
So just to be clear, on the CTE, and this is, again, we have 80, they're a CTE, right, and 80, or those 80 are CCMR certified. My understanding when
We have out of our senior class, yes, that's where the 80
And
comes
the reason
from.
I'm saying that is because we're getting money from the CTE, and we're also getting money from the CCMR, correct?
Right. There's different ways to be CCMR compliant. It's not just earning a certificate and becoming a complete.
And those are the facts that we need. I mean, again, so the parents know, we know that, again, we're getting money, right? We're getting money in the pocket.
Which is why we built in the career prep and the practicums. And so the idea is that you have the career prep and practicum back to back if it works. And I haven't looked at every student's schedule, so that you're generating the CTE funding for all of those sections, and then students have the ability to have more than a 2-section off if they have that. There are going to be cases where kids will have a possible position, a job, where it's not within their pathway. And those would be the individual students that would need to have something different in place for them if they have a job. Because the idea is you want to put them in that career prep pathway, right? You want them to be a completer all the way through, and that was also part of our problem. We are significantly lagging the state and the region in CCMR. It's something I identified when I came early on.
Dr. Amy, and when does that start?
When does what
When
start?
does that CTE program start?
We are starting it as early as 7th grade now.
Exactly.
We've added it in
So my
7th and
thing
8th
is,
grade.
again, we need to know. I mean, we need it. I mean, again, I didn't know that until I started reading. So again, we need to know that again that this starts early. We're talking about 100 students, high school senior students. This is an incentive, right? This was an incentive for me to hurry up, or get your credits, because you'll be able to work your senior year. Or again, let's go back to parents accountability. That if you want your kids mean, again, I want my kids studying, either studying or working. But I think it's out to the parents' accountability to say, okay, you're going to have to go get your job, or you know what, you're going to have to get over some dual credits because you're going to college. So my thing is, again, we just need to understand that again, it's not 800 students that we're looking at. We're only looking at the seniors. Because this program only for seniors, not juniors, not sophomores, not freshmen.
Sure.
Correct?
Well, actually,
Right?
well, okay.
I mean,
so,
I'm just saying,
Whenever you're done, these girls wanted to talk and take your time.
Oh,
Whenever you're
I'm
done.
sorry.
No. When you
okay,
go.
but I'm just saying, it's only those seniors. It's not, I mean, this work study is only for seniors, not juniors. Correct?
We do have a couple juniors who do qualify because they're already CCMR compliant.
And are we
And
getting
they're
paid
still,
for that?
they're still,
How many do we have? How many juniors do we have that are in that program?
there's not near as many juniors. There's just probably maybe 10, if even. But those kids are still working on their pathway as well.
Okay.
They have the same guidelines as the seniors.
And they'd still be on their way to being completers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Ladies.
when we started this, when I first learned of it, we had, when I started digging in and getting the information, we had, I think, approximately 121, is that right, Danielle, kids that had do not comes on their schedule with as many as 6 periods off in the day. Kids all the way from sophomore to senior. So that's what we had. And so when we were here last, and so I apologize if I completely misunderstood the direction this board wanted to go from our meeting. When we said find a happy medium, we were talking about all of those things. We have previously talked about making sure we impact like our CCMR, that we're addressing our accountability, all of those things. And so by adding those pathways and building those out, we've spent a lot of time doing that, and making sure we're taking it all the way down to middle school. We felt like that's exactly what we did by finding the happy medium, because we were able to offer career prep and practicums. And we recognize, 100% we recognize, it may not be the fix for every kid. And those are individual cases that we absolutely need to look at. But again, leaving that because you're of the opinion it was only seniors. I'm of the opinion that it was left to our discretion, is what I'm saying. So when we left here, I was not told give 1, give 2, give freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. Like we weren't told that.
But the information you provided us is that we were leaving money on the table because we had freshmen, sophomores, juniors in that count.
Yes, we are.
Correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So my thing is, again, I thought we had agreed, correct? Tell me if I'm
We've
wrong.
already discussed this last time.
Been
You're
down this
right.
road before.
You're right. You're right.
That it was only going to be for seniors.
Yes.
My thing is, again, then we don't have to mess with, yes, they need to be in a prep, right? I want to be I want my son, when he gets 7th grade, to be in a pathway to college or welding or mechanic or whatever program we have. But I think, again, my understanding was for the work study was only for the seniors. Not anybody else was going to get to go home early. And,
We're not talking about 8th graders.
Yeah.
But by adding those principals classes in the 7th and 8th grade class, it helps them as far as
Yes.
completer status by the time they get to
I totally
junior.
agree
That's
that.
what-
But
Yeah.
again,
We're not here for that.
So maybe it has to do with the work study is what we're
That's
here
all.
for.
That's,
right?
and that's
It's
all.
not so much about the do not come. You'll get to go for 2 periods and be gone and come back
You know,
later.
because we discussed that last time. We're here only because we have kids that can only go to work 1 period. That's not a happy medium. So we're going to have senior whatever to bring that in so they can go to work.
So what would it be? It would be different. Like, is
So
it
after
how many
5th period.
hours total that is?
5th period. Is it 5th period is funding or no?
5th period, they would have to be scheduled in the class.
Okay.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be 5th period, but they have to go through 5th period at Lamesa High School. And then 6th period can be their work period. And then 7th and 8th could be their senior seminar.
Bottom line, Amy, is what you're proposing is going to allow the kids who do not come for 7th and 8th period. And it's being done in a way where, as far as the funding side of it, the state side of it, we're going to be okay. money-wise, I mean, the way you've got it set up now, I mean, in the past, we had the conversation that, yeah, some of these kids that had 4 and 5 do not comes, that's,
We already know that.
we already know all that.
We're not trying
So
to
that's
do
why
that.
we were given, that's why we gave the directive to find a happy medium to where these kids could still be part of the work program, have the do not comes, and us not lose any more funding than we had to.
They'll be full day attendance because they go through
So,
fifth
I
period.
mean, there's the solution, there's the fix. Why are we messing with this?
Well, we don't even, yeah, let's,
Let's move
ladies,
on.
I'm sorry. I saw your hands. What
You
would you
wanna
like
come
to
up?
say? You could sit there or you could come up, whichever you
I got
feel.
the top of my hands.
Okay, that's okay.
Hi, I'm Ember Ehrman. I am a senior at Lamesa High School, actually, and I'm in the work prep. And I was also in sports and all that. You know, I was in dual credit. So my thing is that I feel like we don't have enough time after school, like for our homework, for the jobs, all of that. Now, me personally, I tried to sign up for the vet, for the bank, for all of that, but I couldn't go because they didn't have the flexible hours that, you know, United or Sonic or something like that did. But I did not want to go to a fast food place because no. But honestly, I feel like if we did have the dual credit classes, or sorry, my bad, brain's a little scattered. If we did have the do not come or whatever they're going to be called, the senior seminar or whatever, then we would have enough time to get a job or, you know, just do our homework, something like that. Because, I mean, honestly, I struggle with doing my homework at school because it's just, you know, they tell us, like, you know, put your things away, work on this, you know, whatever. They say a lot. But, so after school, I do feel like staying at school as a senior for so much of the time is just irrelevant, honestly. Because I am there for 2 hours doing nothing, pretty much. Doing nothing. Because in the work prep, all we do is fill out papers, look in a book. That's all we do so far, honestly. It's very boring. But I feel like if we did go home for those extra hours, then we would be able to do stuff at home. Like, that would help to prepare for college. Because it's not like we're going to be in a high school forever, right? This is not built like a college. This is not built like a job or anything like that. And I do believe that if we were able to get those better jobs, or if we were able to get our homework done, you know, at home, then we would be able to get those better grades. Besides, if we all have jobs, and that would help with the circulation of the economics here, wouldn't it? Besides, it was also said at the presentation that, you know, Lubbock and Midland and all of them, that they don't have the dual credit, which that's because they're bigger schools. Honestly, they have more people to, you know, fill out the schedules for. Meanwhile, we have a class of only about over 100, so that wouldn't be too hard. You know, it's not like we have like 10 periods or anything. So I honestly don't believe it'd be that hard to do that because they're bigger schools. Honestly, we're smaller schools. But again, with the circulation, if we were allowed to get more jobs, then that could prepare us for the future. Like me, honestly, I wanted to work at NASA. I wanted to, you know, aerospace engineering, planetary science, all of that. I wanted to do all of that. But I can't because I don't have enough time to research it. Honestly, and I'm in astronomy, you know, that's fun. But honestly, I tried to take the NASA classes, but I just don't have the time for it because I can't go home, you know, at a decent time. Because, you know, school, we have to stay there, which extremely boring. As I said before, we just sit there filling out papers, and I don't think that's going to help me get a NASA scholarship, you know? I don't think Christina Cook's going to come to the school and be like, nope, not going to happen. But honestly, like I was saying, this, with the do not comes, this could honestly help with the economics. It could help with the, you know, all of that because you would have less seniors on your hands to take care of. And with the not coming to school, honestly, I feel like without the do not comes, there would be more of a chance for protesting, which means all of us, or most of us, not coming to classes because we're simply not going to, because we don't need it. So if we did only have those classes, then it would be a lot easier for us to be able to, you know, show up, do our stuff, you know? Get our classes done, honestly. And honestly, I have disabled grandparents, so it's not like I can just go to school, go home, sit on my butt all day. Can't do that. I have to reach the top shelf because my grandma's really freaking short. But honestly, with a job and just balancing school and all of that, I find it really hard. Because, I have to care for my grandparents, I have to care for my sister, I have to care for my animals. I love my mittens, And then I also have a job, which I can only go for about, 4 to 6 hours? And honestly, well, not even 6, because I'm only a produce clerk. But it's one of those things where you really have to think about it. Like, if we're having this much trouble with the financing, shouldn't we come together and say, okay, what can we do with the financing rather than with the students? Shouldn't there be more of like a pie chart or something, like statistics? We should be looking at all of these things that bring us money, which I don't think that us not coming to school will really drain your pockets, because it's not like we're paying you to go to school. It's completely free. It's a public school. We don't get paid for lunches, none of that. And I hope we don't after this. I like this food. But if we were able to do all of this, then we would have the money to be able to spend it all on, the buses, obviously, because one of them broke down for over 5 hours, and we had to have either the principal or the assistant principal drive it, which I'm pretty sure if you saw a big, bald, buff guy driving a bus, that'd be a little bit terrifying in the middle of the night. So, honestly, I wouldn't want to see that, But, yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say. So, I do feel like the do not comes are important to us, to our families, to our jobs, to all of that. I feel like it would even benefit you guys, I mean, you guys have kids. All of you guys. Well, not all of you. I don't know y'all personally. But I know at least 2 of you in here do have kids, and I can imagine that you would want to spend time with your kids before they go off to college, right? I know my mom would want to. So I do feel like this would benefit us all. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so, did you want something, Sue?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily making a statement or anything, but if we're putting in the idea of having the career prep and the student of senior seminar or whatever, what would the criteria be to be qualified for that? Because last year, I remember getting out of CCMR prep was to pass your TSI. So would it still be TSI, or would you have to have extra stuff to pass that?
TSI is CCMR compliant. Yes, ma'am.
So if you pass it, okay, perfect. Because I know a lot of kids that did their TSIs multiple times to get these do not comes and everything.
Our juniors worked very hard last year, and that's why we are 80 out of 100. 80 are compliant because they worked their tail end off with TSI. Some had earned certifications. We're still working on the completers, obviously, because it goes hand in hand. But they did work hard, and I know that they were disappointed in their schedules.
So I think we could all just end it with whatever we had just wasn't fitting for everybody. We have a different way, which you have an idea that Ms. Baker and then Dr. Avey, and we'll just.
So my understanding is those that are, whatever we're going to call it, has to do with the career. I mean the work study, right? Not like you get to go home for 2 hours and not have to. I mean, is that true? Okay, because I'm just talking about because when it comes to do not comes, I know in the past I remember, 2 years ago I know of a few because parents said, why do y'all just let them go till 10:30 and then they're done the whole day, and like what do they do? Like I just have them at home and like they don't want to go get a job, and that's what my thing is that I mean if they're gonna leave the school, if it's for work study, I totally get it. But not to just go and not do anything when they can actually be studying at school.
And I've heard, just like y'all have, I've heard from a lot of kids. I had kids the other day with the principals there telling us that they don't feel like Lamesa ISD has prepared them to go to college. They were pretty emphatic about that, and I apologize to that because that means we are not doing a service to our kids. I had kids say that they didn't feel like they had enough time to do their dual credit work, and they were staying up late in the middle of the night. We heard all of that. We heard every single piece of it. And so that's what we told the kids, or I specifically did. I said, we are not trying to do something to you. We're trying to do something for you to help you be more successful so that you can use the time after the school day so you're not having to spend hours at night, all night, doing your homework. We're also trying to make sure we're strategically aligned with those pathways on every single kid. And again, we're not going to get it perfect. But also, too, we believe that we have a duty to serve our kids. And that's my fundamental belief. But, Amy, I do have a question for you. Do you know how many kids, you said there are 80 that are already completers?
They're CCR compliant.
Okay.
And that may not be CTE, that may be TSI, it may be dual credit hours.
Okay, do you know how many of those, and you may not, because I know it's a lot, but do you know how many of those that are in career prep that are also how many of the kids are not, would it impact that would not be in career prep and a practical?
Most of our kids who are in practicum, that is going to be a struggle to get them in a job based on their pathway. Because a lot of our kids here in Lamesa, it's fast food industry. Now, if they're in the practicum of culinary, yes. And that's why there's a spreadsheet shared with Coach Laura and I. And I'm still in the process. I've got to finish my normal schedule changes, and then I can focus on cleaning this
But
up.
I think that's something y'all can discuss outside this meeting, because
Right.
because this isn't the first time we've done it, and we've had the same businesses. We can make it work. Madison.
Hi, I'm Madison. I emailed most of y'all on the school board, so thank you for the ones who responded, and if y'all read it and listened to our concerns. I myself am a senior. I have a job. I'm in band, and I am in athletics. So I know we have worked for our do not comes. I know y'all don't want to call that. Since we've been a freshman, because we were promised, since freshman year, if you work, you finish your stuff, you can have do not comes when you're a senior. So that's why we're so adamant about having our do not comes and voicing our opinions. This is the first time I've been told that we've been called entitled because we voiced our opinions, because we went against what the admin and the adults said. So I feel like that's not fair to us, because we fought for this, and just us voicing our opinions, because we're going to be adults soon. That's what we need to do. We can't just be, oh, okay, that's fine. So being called entitled is kind of disrespectful to us. And then our admin, our principals, and our superintendent, rolling our eyes, not listening to what we said in our senior meeting, was also very disrespectful to us, because I know I stayed behind and I asked questions to them, and I could see it, because I was right in front. It was me, my friends Riot and Jordan. We all stayed in front, so I know they could also be here if they could, but they'll have volleyball, they're working, so they can't. So I'm going to speak for them and us. So I feel like our principals need to work on not disrespecting us as much, because they feel like they're at a higher level, and they are, because it's the students, but we should still be respected. So thank you for listening to us, voicing our concerns.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we've heard enough today, and I think we've heard enough. I think that we know the direction that we're going to go in, and I want to thank everybody that is here, all of y'all, every one of y'all that have a hand in getting all the kids where we need to be. Y'all for working hard. I'm very proud of y'all, and I think we understand. Amy, everybody, okay. I think we're.
So does this have to be put on an action item since we've already?
No. This is just.
I just didn't.
It doesn't. No.
Reiterate something that was said 2 months ago.
Yep. Let's
Just so I understand, do you want me to take the number of juniors out of career prep? And just
no, because if they are ready, their career path is ready to graduate. Like, say for instance, my son, he could have graduated his junior year. These kids, they know if they're going to college, they know if they're going to the workforce, they know where we're going. Their senior year, like you said, the foundation of preparing them for college is not doing it a year before college. It's doing it at South Elementary. That's preparing them for college. And so that's what I know we're doing. This packet's going to show that we're doing that. And so I think right now we just need to fix the seniors. And I think the juniors, if they're qualified, then yes. Unless y'all have, I mean.
Because you're not gonna put them in there if they're not qualified,
No,
correct?
and I'm still cleaning up schedules, so I know the seniors are itching, they want their schedule fixed, so that's something I'm gonna work on over the weekend and hopefully try to get it done and hammered out and look at my juniors, make sure, but everybody will be in there who qualifies.
Okay, thank you.
And Miss Baker, I want to say I'm sorry. You're going to have to redo some things, but thank you. Because I know you always have their best interests at heart. I
Thanks
truly
for your
believe
hard
that.
work.
Okay, there's no further business to discuss. This meeting is adjourned.